Hello everybody, it's black to play in this position. I posted this position to Twitter or X last week and it was seen 14,000 times so far. That's created a big discussion and people told me their answers, and this is one of the most amazingly beautiful calculation puzzles, folks, that I want to share with you all. I think this single position can teach us so many nice things on calculation. This position could be used like a litmus test for those chess coaches to test their students' calculation skills. Black to play, how would you play? I want you to stop the video right now, folks. Please give yourself at least 5 to 10 minutes. Let's go through it together, folks. Well, what are you seeing? The orientation phase. First things first. We are down an exchange, but the white king is not safe. We have so many promising ideas like bishop h3, perhaps bishop b7, right? The white king is not safe. That's the first thing to be seen from this position. But are you also, for example, noticing there are potential dangers around your king and the entire back rank, right? That's what we are doing in the orientation phase. Before we are calculating moves, we try to understand the situation as a whole, verbalize all these things that might be important when it comes to calculating, right? Just for the first minute, I want you to have this habit. Orientation phase. Verbalize what you're seeing in the position. Every single important detail might be important. Okay? Now we have all this information. What are the candidate moves, folks? You tell me. Well, my first candidate move when I look at this position was this. Rook e2, right? Because I hit your queen, and once the queen moves somewhere, I take on f2 with check, followed by mate on g2, right? That's a very human solution, I think. Rook e2. But does it work? And here comes a scientist. Now you have to become a scientist. You have to try to falsify your good-looking ideas first before you play it on the board, which means you're actively searching for the potential defects of this move and what's the best reply for the opponent against that move. This way, we are fighting against wishful thinking, confirmation bias. Folks, it's pervasive, it's everywhere. It's in algorithms and YouTube and Twitter always pump us with information that we want to know, right? That confirm our beliefs. But science and chess doesn't work like that. So just because Rook e2 looks beautiful doesn't mean that we should play it. Can you see it, folks? I told you about the back rank issue. That was our orientation phase. Can you see the great response for white against Rook e2? Yes. I will put on the board, folks. Congratulations. If you found this beautiful defense for white, takes, and they're turning the tables because of the back rank problem. It's white who is winning this position. You have to give up your queen, otherwise you get mated, and white wins this resulting endgame. Isn't it beautiful? So again, confirmation bias, visual thinking. People will play this move without thinking that they will just mate in 2 moves, right? But here comes the beautiful part of chess, folks. This fails due to this. Okay, so we change our candidate moves. What else are we seeing in this position? Many people on Twitter told me about this move, right? It looks beautiful, bishop h3. I mate you on the next move. What can be wrong with this? Now you tell me what's wrong with this. It's f takes e3, and the queen defends the g2 square. White just wins this position with extra material, right? You see it. Bishop h3 looks like a beautiful move. Mate on the next move doesn't work. And again, you need to be a scientist. You need to look at all the possible defensive options for the opponent before you think that you're going to win that position, okay? So this doesn't work. And then many people told me after this, well, the problem is I am allowing f takes e3. So I will do this check first, thus eliminate my rook being captured, and then I will go bishop h3. Many people on Twitter told me about this move. Well, what's the problem? Well, the orientation phase, right? We know that we have back rank problems in this position. So it's white who mates first. Incredible. Going back, folks, what else are you seeing? Now, we have looked at the options that doesn't work. There are many more options that doesn't work for black. We'll look at it together, by the way. But how about this option? How about this option? Bishop b7. Now I want you to calculate it a little bit in depth, right? Give yourself some time. What are you seeing? That's a very forcing move. What can white do against it? And can you see the entire line and with a clear conclusion in the end? Just take your time. You're a great player, folks, if you actually came up with the entire sequence of bishop b7, f takes e3, queen h1 check, king f2. What's the next move? Queen g2 check, king e1, and queen takes c2. I did it intentionally. I'm not going to move the pieces. I want you to visualize the entire line, right? Bishop b7, f takes e3, queen h1 check, king f2, queen g2 check, king e1, and queen takes c2. At that moment, I want you to blunder check everything. Just double check. Yes, white is no clear checks. Our back rank is secure for the moment. We don't get mated, and we will win the queen and with a clearly winning position. I will put on the board, folks. That's one of the winning lines. This one. No queen g2 mate, but many people also told me about queen g2 mate there. By the way, it doesn't work. And then you see this sequence, and black is winning with extra material here. Okay? But going backwards. Well, what if I told you there are two more stronger moves in this position for black? Black has two moves with the rook. That's my first hint. That actually forces a mate in three moves by force. Okay? So now comes my question. Where should the rook move? It's obviously logical to move the rook, right? Because you don't want to allow f takes e3 because then the queen starts defending. So it makes perfect sense to move the rook somewhere else here. We know that rook e2 is a blunder. We know that rook e1 check is a blunder. What else? What else? Let's start with the move that fails. What if we just simply go back to e8, folks? What can be wrong with this? I remove my rook and then I will either do this or this, right? It looks like a beautiful move. My bishop has options in this position. So what can be wrong with this? And again, I want you to stop the video and tell me, what is the problem with the move rook e8? Now again, you're a scientist. You're actively searching for the best move for the opponent. Yes, very simple move, rook e1. They are challenging us on the e-file. They are creating a mate in one threat. Well, if you take the rook, then obviously, right, their rook is becoming very active on the e-file. It doesn't work. And if you just remove the rook somewhere to f8, again, renewing your threats of this or this, you tell me what they will do? Yes, they will do queen e2, and they will repel your queen from that beautiful post on f3. And it's white, again, who is completely winning because all of your mating ideas just disappeared. Look at your pieces, and white gains control. Going back, rook e8 doesn't work because of this, folks. You see it, right? Now, again, let's look at the line that doesn't work for black. Rook e6. Many people also told me this on Twitter. They talk about rook e6. What's the problem? Verbalize. The problem is now the bishop has less options. You're voluntarily blocking the options of your bishop. Now the bishop can no longer go to h3. Thus, the bishop is limited to this idea of bishop b7. Can white prevent it, folks? Can white neutralize the bishop on b7? Yes, you're a great player if you found the move d4 because white's intention is to follow up with the move d5 and they are blunting that diagonal. It's almost mate, but not quite. And if you take on d5, obviously they will just sack the exchange and white actually achieves, again, a better position with equal material and they are activating their rook. Their king won't get mated. Amazing, right? Amazing. Rook e6 doesn't work. Thus, what move is left, folks? Which move is there? Yes, you're a great player, folks. If you found the move rook e5, that's a beautiful move that is totally designed. That is just totally, answering the demands of this position. It's also, look at this. It's a very flexible move. Now the bishop has choices. The bishop has options, flexibility, right? And if white goes the same idea, rook e1, well, you don't react, right? Because you don't get mated on e8. That's a final function of the move rook e5, a multi-purpose move. Rook e8 check is not there. And obviously in this position, we will react with the move. You tell me, bishop b7 or bishop h3, folks? You tell me. You tell me which one is more clinical in this position. You're a great player if you came up with the move bishop h3 and no one can stop queen g2 mate anymore, right? We just mate on the next move. What can be wrong with bishop b7? Well, you're giving white one more option to go rook e4 in this position and momentarily, right, block that diagonal, right? Black is still fine and winning in this position after, let's say, this, and this, right? Now they have to give up the queen to prevent the mate. But even this, right? Even this will take some time to convert, basically. So you don't want to end up in this position, right? When you have this option of finishing the game in 2 moves, right? Bishop h3, again, this also teaches us the importance of generating several candidate moves, right? So from this single example, so far we learned 2 very important things. Opponent's resources and the candidate moves. Well, actually 3. Goal setting process, right? The orientation phase. To talk to yourself about all these details. Again, going back after rook e5, what if white goes d4? Do you go bishop b7 or bishop h3? You tell me. This is easy. Bishop h3 again, and no one can stop the mate on g2, right? Because if you go to b7, you allow this move, obviously, right? Again, rook e5 is one of the clinical moves that finishes the game, but there's one more, and that is rook e7, right? The same idea. The same idea. You're keeping your bishop's options open, and you're stopping rook e1 followed by rook e8 mate on the board. So after rook e1, again, right? You don't take that rook and give away the file, but you play. You tell me, this or this. You tell me, folks. Yes, bishop h3, and no one can stop the mate on g2. If you do bishop b7, you're giving white the option of playing rook e4 again. You don't want to end up here, right? Folks, going back to this position, amazingly beautiful position. I love it, and I hope you got your lessons. Just to take a step back and summarize what we learned, the importance of the goal setting first. What are we playing for? The importance of the orientation phase, looking at every single detail in the position, but not falling for wishful thinking and confirmation bias. It's like a puzzle rush habit, right? You just basically see rook e2 and just play without thinking. Hey, real world chess calculation doesn't work like that, right? Now we are engaging in real chess by studying those positions. This will fight against those tendencies, those laziness that I've seen so many times, right? Yeah, move looks good, you play it without thinking. Well, this is where chess resembles science, my friends, right? What else this position is teaching us? It's the candidate move generation. At all junctions, we are giving ourselves choices. We already see moves like this, bishop h3, bishop b7, rook e2, right? We don't limit ourselves with those choices. We also look at other moves, rook e5, rook e7, rook e8. We generate several moves, but, right, in all these moves, we are searching actively for the best move for the opponent, right? They're always playing chess with both colors, white and black at all times. A lovely position, folks, a lovely position. What else this position is teaching us? This position is teaching us about the importance of keeping everything flexible. Just like here, rook e5 is flexible because we keep the bishop options open. Rook e6 is not flexible because you're taking away this diagonal from your bishop. And again, finally, right, we are really training in this case the active search for blunder check. For example, many players would stop their line here, evaluate that black is crashing. But, right, blunder check basically means you need to look at the forcing replies for the opponent, and that's obviously the forcing move that is left for white, right, before they resign, and one more forcing move, and tables are turned. This single example, going back, is also teaching us, right, the importance of the blunder check process. So it's a really a privilege to find those positions, folks, that is so rich, that are teaching us all the beautiful things about chess calculation, that when I saw this, I had to post it on Twitter, and people replied with 14,000 views. It's about the Twitter algorithm. I have no idea why it became so popular, but I think it's the richness that people saw, right? People understood this position is so beautifully rich and tricky, and yet so instructive. You get better at chess calculation by challenging yourself with those rich examples. So ask your coaches to give you beautiful positions, rich positions like this. You can check my Chessable course, the award-winning course, Fundamental Chess Calculation Skills, which won the Best Tactics Course of the Year in 2023. I'm very curious about your feedback about this position. Which was the candidate that you saw first? Which was your conclusion? Were you going wrong here? Were you committing similar mistakes as I show you? What process you underwent in this position? I'm very curious. Please give me feedback on this on YouTube, folks. And if you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next episode with similar instructive contents. Bye bye.